Hello, I'm Douglas Maddie and welcome to Altered Perceptions. In this video I'm going to be reacting to The Art of Misdirection by Apollo Robbins, TED Talk. Let's have a look at it.
Do you think it's possible to control someone's attention? Even more than that, what about predicting human behavior? I think those are interesting ideas if you could. I mean, for me, that'd be the perfect superpower. Actually, kind of an evil way of approaching it. But for myself, in the past, I've spent the last 20 years studying human behavior from a rather unorthodox way, picking pockets. When we think of misdirection, we think of something as looking off to the side when actually it's often the things that are right in front of us that are hardest things to see, the things that you look at every day that you're blinded to. For example, how many of you still have your cell phones on you right now? Great. Double check. Make sure you still have them on you. I was doing some shopping beforehand. Now, you've looked at them probably a few times today, but I'm going to ask you a question about them. Without looking at your cell phone directly yet, can you remember the icon in the bottom right corner? Bring them out, check, and see how accurate you were. How'd you do? Show of hands, did we get it? Now that you're done looking at those, close them down, because every phone has something in common. No matter how you organize the icons, you still have a clock on the front. So without looking at your phone, what time was it? You just looked at your clock, right? It's an interesting idea. Now I'll ask you to take that a step further with a game of trust. Close your eyes. I realize I'm asking you to do that while you just heard there's a pickpocket in the room, but close your eyes. Now, you've been watching me for about 30 seconds. With your eyes closed, what am I wearing? Make your best guess. What color is my shirt? What color is my tie? Now open your eyes. By show of hands, were you right? It's interesting, isn't it? Some of us are a little bit more perceptive than others. It seems that way. But I have a different theory about that model of attention. They have fancy models of attention, Posner's trendy model of attention. For me, I like to think of it very simple, like a surveillance system. It's kind of like you have all these fancy sensories, and inside your brain is a little security guard. For me, I like to call him Frank. So Frank is sitting at a desk. He's got all sorts of cool information in front of him, high-tech equipment. He's got cameras. He's got a little phone that he can pick up, listen to the ears, all these senses, all these perceptions. But attention is what steers your perceptions, is what controls your reality. It's the gateway to the mind. If you don't attend to something, you can't be aware of it.
I like the fact that everyone keeps mentioning perceptions in these TED Talks because that's what this channel is all about, and it is about attention and how you manage your perception. So the fact that these people are talking about it in this way is really good.
But ironically, you can attend to something without being aware of it. That's why there's the cocktail effect. When you're in a party, you're having conversations with someone, and yet you can recognize your name and you didn't even realize you were listening to that. Now, for my job, I have to play with techniques to exploit this, to play with your attention as a limited resource. So if I could control how you spend your attention, if I could maybe steal your attention through a distraction. Now, instead of doing it like misdirection and throwing off to the side, instead what I choose to focus on is Frank. To be able to play with the Frank inside your head, your little security guard, and get you, instead of focusing on your external senses, just to go internal for a second. Focusing on your external senses, just to go internal for a second. So if I ask you to...
I like this, and I've done this exercise a few times. You pay attention to what you're paying attention to, and that's kind of like turning consciousness in on itself.
So if I ask you to access a memory, like, what is that? What just happened? Do you have a wallet? Do you have an American Express in your wallet? And when I do that, your Frank turns around. He accesses the file. He has to rewind the tape. And what's interesting is he can't rewind the tape at the same time that he's trying to process new data. Now, I mean, this sounds like a good theory, but I could talk for a long time and tell you lots of things, and they may be true, a portion of them. But I think it's better if I try to show that to you here live. So, if I come down, I'm going to do a little bit of shopping. Just hold still where you are.
This is one of the things that we've seen Darren Brown do, like when he gets people to forget where they're going to, because let's say he's referring to it as your Frank, your conscious awareness. When you're paying attention to the outside world, you miss information, and you've got loads of cognitive bias and distortions everywhere, and you can only pay attention to a finite amount of things at any given time. But also, when you're thinking about things, when you're thinking about the past or about the future, which we do on a daily basis, or we're thinking about something we're going to say, or we go to our internal world, we block out more of the external world because we're inside thinking about we go into a different trance state. So, and we dip in and out of this all day long. So even if you can just pay attention to where your awareness is it on the external world or is it on the internal world? And that's where things like yoga and meditation and hypnosis come in, because you get to concentrate on your internal world despite the distractions and the triggers on the outside world. And then when you're paying attention to the outside world, you can sometimes not keep track of your emotional currency or where your attention's being directed, because you're just reacting to things from the outside world and you're not being proactive. So it's a very good balance between the external world and the internal world and how you process information. And when your Frank is paying attention to what's going on around it, or if you ask your consciousness a question, he can go and it's like Google. You ask yourself a question, oh, how's this going to work? Your brain will come up with the answer. If you think, oh, I think this is going to fail, then your brain will come up with reasons as to why it's going to fail. So you get what you focus on. And so it's very important what you focus on, because that creates your subjective reality, literally.
Hello, how are you? It's lovely to see you. You did a wonderful job on stage. You have a lovely watch that doesn't come off very well. Do you have your ring as well?
Oh, right. He said this earlier, but again, I missed it, ironically. So he's a pickpocketer. So now he's going to go around stealing people's watches, and because they know he's a pickpocketer and he's coming up to it, it's very difficult to do this covertly. Whereas if you were trying to do it in the real world, where you're trying to steal things from people, you'd do it very undercover. You do it very discreetly and covertly. So you wouldn't do it overtly. So it's even more difficult because all the attention's on him, and that's why they're laughing, because they know he's doing what he's doing.
Good, just taking inventory. You're like a buffet. It's hard to tell where to start. There's so many great things. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
So one of the things about pickpocketers is they've got to use kinesthetic touch. They've got to be touching people. Now, I'm not a touchy-feely kind of person. I don't like people touching me, especially if I'm in a bit of a mood, and I don't like touching other people that are complete strangers that I'm not aware of. So when I got into performing magic, and I've done a little bit of pickpocketing, not much. I've taken people's watches off. I've taken people's ties off and put it on while I was performing magic. Things that were kind of like helped embellish the magic trick that I was doing, but I've never done pickpocketing per se. I've only done pickpocketing effects as and when necessary. But I'm not a fan of the old touchy-feely thing. So, but that's what you need to do. So when you go over, you shake, and the best way is to shake somebody's hand first, just so, because that's a very natural way of doing that. And again, we've spoken about handshake interrupts and how important the handshake is on this channel before as a pattern. So you shake somebody's hand. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Put the hand on the shoulder. You know, like the politicians do when they're patting each other on the back. But you just kind of touch the shoulder. It doesn't have to be. You have to put it on there. Just kind of touch it, or just tap them and say, "Hey, it's good to see you." So you're kind of like just becoming more touchy-feely, and this is necessary if you want to learn pickpocketing, which is kind of like akin to magic. It's a similar kind of thing, because it can be used as a magic effect, or it can be used just for stealing. But again, you have to be able to touch people in order to be able to get the items that they have on them off of them, obviously. So what you do is you kind of confuse the brain by just touching them randomly for no reason. It kind of just sends the brain into a bit of a spasm.
Hi, sir, could you stand up for me, please? Just right where you are. You're married. You follow the directions well. That's nice to meet you, sir. You don't have a whole lot inside your pockets. Anything down by the pocket over here? Hopefully so. Have a seat. There you go. You're doing well. Hi, sir. How are you? Good to see you, sir. You have a ring.
So like when he just did that, shake the hand, pat on the back of the hand, it means absolutely nothing, but he's getting used to he's building on the fact that it's okay to touch him. Because if you touch somebody and you let them do it once, they can touch you again. Whereas if you don't let them touch you once, then they have trouble touching you again, because they've put a boundary up. So handshake is a good way of breaking that formal way of touching people down. And then you just build on that.
Come on up this way, Joe. Give Joe a
Tap on the shoulder.
Come on up, Joe. Let's play a game.
Just so that they get comfortable and they don't know where you're touching them at the end. The brain just kind of gives up because it's not used to it, because it's been invaded essentially.
A watch? Do you have a wallet on you? Well, we'll find one for you. Come on up this way, Joe. Give Joe a round of applause. Come on up, Joe. Let's play a game. Pardon me. Don't think that you need this clicker anymore. You can have that. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Come on up to the stage, Joe. Let's play a little game. Now, do you have anything in your front pockets? Money. All right, let's try that. Can you stand right over this way for me? turn around and let's see. If I give you something that belongs to me, this is just something, a half poker chip. Hold out your hand for me. Watch it kind of close. Now, this is a task for you to focus on. Now, you have your money in your front pocket here? Yep. Good. I'm not going to actually put my hand in your pocket. I'm not ready for that kind of commitment. One time a guy had a hole in his pocket, and that was rather traumatizing. I was looking for his wallet, and he gave me his phone number. It was a big miscommunication. So let's do this simply. Squeeze your hand. Squeeze it tight. Do you feel the poker chip in your hand? I do. Would you be surprised if I could take it out of your hand? Say yes? Very. Good. Open your hand. Thank you very much. I'll cheat if you give me a chance. Make it harder for me. Just use your hand. Grab my wrist, but squeeze. Squeeze firm. Did you see it go? No. No, it's not here. Open your hand. See, while we're focused on the hand, it's sitting on your shoulder right now. Go ahead and take it off. Now, let's try that again. Hold your hand out flat. Open it up all the way. Put your hand up a little bit higher, but watch it close there, Joe. See, if I did it slowly, it'd be back on your shoulder. We're going to keep doing this.
So this is a very good trick. This is kind of like reverse pickpocketing in a way, because you're putting objects onto people. And again, this is one of the routines that I've done. I do it with a coin. It's a very standard magic effect where you make a coin disappear. Well, it's got to reappear somewhere, and it usually appears on somebody's shoulder if they're touching a lot. That's why he's touching the shoulder, to get him used to touching it. Or it'll probably appear under his watch next, and that's probably why he selected him, because you can also make it appear under somebody's watch, and he's using a hand which has a watch on it. So instead of taking the watch off, which I'm sure he'll do at some point later because he's a pickpocketer, he'll probably put the coin under it at some point before taking the watch off, as to build on the effects. When you pick your spectator, he's picking him based on what props he has and how the clothes are fitted to his body. Because if you're wearing a jacket, it's much easier to slip your hand into somebody's pocket and take it on. Let me use a prop. Say if you've got a prop like this control or a wallet or something, if you've got it in somebody's pocket, it's much easier to slip in and take it out without them feeling it, because it's not connected to the body. So anything that has pockets, or like if you've got a jacket on, and just by tapping people, you can feel just like when you go to the airport, wherever, when people are kind of like tapping you down. That's another reason for touching. It's to get people used to the touch, so that they don't feel something when you plant something on there. But also it's also checking to see what can be taken as well.
Joe, we're going to keep doing this till you catch it. You're going to get it eventually. I have faith in you. Squeeze firm. Squeeze. You're human. You're not slow. It's back on your shoulder. You're focused on your hand. That's why you were distracted. While you were watching this, I couldn't quite get your watch off. It was difficult.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he couldn't take the watch off straight away, so he made a point of it. And this is a thing in magic called paint it red. If call out the elephant in the room. I'm trying to take your watch. No, I'm trying to take your watch. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to take your watch, but I'm going to tell you at the time that I'm not taking it, so that when I do take it, I've already excluded it. It's kind of like you say how you're not doing it when it's really how you're doing it, kind of thing. It's just verbal misdirection. It's throwing people off using timing. Oh, I talk about the watch. Yeah, you think I'm taking your watch? No, actually, have a look in your pocket. Now you look in the pocket, the watch has come off. So it's sort of like you're creating good. It's called in magic an on-beat and an off-beat. It's very good.
Yet you had something inside your front pocket. Do you remember what it was?
Money.
Check your pocket. See if it's still there. Is it still there? Oh, that's where it was. Go ahead and put it away. We're just shopping. This trick's more about the timing, really. I'm going to try to push it inside your hand. Put your other hand on top for me, would you? It's amazingly obvious now, isn't it? It looks a lot like the watch I was wearing, doesn't it?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, thanks.
So again, it's not just about taking things off people's bodies, it's about putting things on people's bodies. Like he put the chip on his shoulder, he put the watch on while he was looking for the thing in his pocket. So it's not so much about stealing things, it's all about how attention is directed and where you're paying attention.
But it's only a start. Let's try it again a little bit differently. Hold your hands together, put your other hand on top. Now, if you're watching this little token, this obviously has become a little target. It's like a red herring. We watch this kind of close. It looks like it goes away. It's not back on your shoulder. It falls out of the air, lands right back in the hand. Did you see it go? It's funny.
That's the oldest trick in the book. That's a good one to do on children because they're shorter than you are. And essentially, you're taking the coin and you're doing some jiggery pokery, and you're just popping it on your head and lean your head forward, and it looks like it drops out the sky, and they look up. We'll teach that on the channel. That's a good trick. I like that. And I didn't know you could use it on adults with somebody that's taller than you to fool them. That's really good.
Got a little guy, he's union. He works up there all day. If I did it slowly, if it goes straight away, it lands down by your pocket. I believe, is it in this pocket, sir?
Again, I like the way that Apollo's going about this. Is like boom, 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 boom. So you can't keep track of. You just give up. You go, okay. You essentially end up as a mannequin because it's sort of like, I give up. I can't keep track of what you're doing. And so every on beat, he's doing something on the off beat. Boom, 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 in, out. It's good teaching magic, isn't it? Boom, boom, in, out. That's how you do magic.
No, don't reach in your pocket. That's a different show. Sorry, that's rather strange. They have shots for that. Here, can I show them what that is? That's rather bizarre. Is this yours, sir? I have no idea how that works. We'll just send that over there.
You see, ordinarily, if you were just to go up to a guy and tap his trousers in that area, it wouldn't go down very well. It'd probably usually hit you or something like that. But because he's on stage, because he knows he's a performer, because he's been touching him everywhere else in the body, that's a natural progression. Because the more intimate areas, especially with women and stuff, and people are very protective of certain areas. So like the hands, the things that are furthest away from the body, it's easy to touch. So you could go from hands to the elbows, to the shoulders. Now you can come into this private area here in order to get wallets out the jacket and such. So you work your way up to the intimate areas. Sounds so wrong.
That's great. I need help with this one. Step over this way for me. Now, don't run away. You had something down by your pants pocket. I was checking mine. I couldn't find everything. But I noticed you had something here. Feel the outside of your pocket for a moment. Down here, I noticed this. Is this something of yours, sir? Is this... I had no idea. That's a shrimp.
Yeah, saving it for later.
You've entertained all these people in a wonderful way. Better than you know. So we'd love to give you this lovely watch as a gift. Hopefully it matches his taste.
And if you notice at the moment, he's actually even taken his tie off. Because he asked you what he was wearing in the beginning, and I think he might have even changed his shirt by the looks of it as well. So, or he might have changed the what's it called, sticking out of his the handkerchief sticking out of his top. I don't know.
The shirt was purple. It's now grey.
Thank you, James. Yeah, see, James is paying attention. So, but there's so many things going on at once. Your mind can't keep track. A bit like with this camera here. With this camera, we have a tracker on the face, so it literally tracks your face. So if you go forward and backwards, it kind of tracks you the whole time to keep things in focus, so that the camera can focus. Well, the human brain's very similar. It picks one thing to focus on, and it keeps track of it. But by doing so, it loses track of everything else that's in its reality.
But also, we have a couple of other things. A little bit of cash.
Yep.
And then we have a few other things. These all belong to you, along with a big round of applause from all your friends. Joe, thank you very much.
So this video is called The Art of Misdirection, and it's not so much about misdirecting attention, it's about redirecting attention, and it's about looking at where the direction of attention is. So instead of doing something over here so you can do something here, it's about, instead of forcing people to look a certain way, it's getting people to look as though they wanted to. So when he went for something in his pocket earlier, he really did want to go for something in his pocket, so he's not paying attention to his watch, and vice versa. The fact that you've got two people on stage, you're looking at the guy, you're looking at him take stuff off the guy, well, he's taking stuff off of his own body, so he's actually using the guy as misdirection for what he's doing. So it's really interesting about how to, it's like a pinball machine, it's like a ball in a pinball machine, about where the ball's going. If you can direct people's attention, you can create some really strong effects. But it's not misdirection, it's more about direction of attention, because your attention has to be somewhere. So it's just input. So all you're doing is you're literally like a director on stage or in a film. You're directing where you want the audience to look.
So, same question I asked you before, but this time you don't have to close your eyes. What am I wearing? Attention is a powerful thing. Like I said, it shapes your reality. So I guess I'd like to pose that question to you. If you could control somebody's attention, what would you do with it? Thank you.
And we've said about storytelling on this channel before. We've said about how important attention is, because attention is really the only thing that you have to create the experience for your life and how you're directing attention on a daily basis. So yeah, pay attention to what you're paying attention to, and if you pay attention to good things, your life can get better, and if you pay attention to negative things, your life can get worse. And that's the law of attraction, but it's a lot more complicated than that, because we're literally creating our own lives with how we're choosing to pay and direct our attention. So what are you paying attention to? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and you'll be notified of our latest videos.